Twinkle, twinkle, little fish, wanna hit you with a
car,
push you off a cliff to
die,
throw a bomb to say
good night,
twinkle, twinkle, little fish, say hello to
genocide. Alright, let's go over this little terrorist's abilities. Klee's normal attacks are pretty simple. She simply just tosses her best friends left and right against monsters, against humans, and against monsters. Klee's charge attack. Victor's E. I forgot the name of this move, but I was originally gonna call this Death Star's Death Ray, because with Albedo, it basically is. But that was way too long for the name, so his E better sound more original. This powerful move, unfortunately, can feel a little awkward to use, because this very cute and beautiful animation is long and expensive, like your character investments. And it's also a charge attack, which takes away your stamina. But do not worry, my friends. Klee does indeed have a stamina reduction passive that I didn't know for 2 years, and it boosts the crap out of her damage by a lot. But this game was created by Hoyoverse, therefore they f***ed it somehow. Yeah, so the chances of Klee activating this is also 50%, and from my experience, and of course from your experience, we should all know by now that this number in this game is a scam. No. But to fully explain this passive, whenever Klee throws her best friends to explode, you know, your skill and your normal attacks, she has a 50% chance of gaining the stamina reduction, and legends say that only the real best friends give her this buff, which is a great way for Klee to check if you're her best friend or not. So when she explodes her best friends, if they're real, rest in peace. But if they're fake, well, hope you get to sit beside this thing for eternity. And I know it doesn't say anything here in the description of the ability written by the people who made and designed her, but there is a cooldown to the stamina reduction, and from what I can tell, it's like 3 to 4 seconds. But even with this buff, you're probably thinking that Klee's charge attack is kind of clunky and slow. I agree, it's almost as slow as Tower of Fantasy server queue. So here's a neat trick for this slow attack. While Klee is throwing her best friends, the moment they leave her hand, he can press jump and cancel the animation. I was like, what? You can do that? That's legal? You know what else is cool about Klee's charge attack? It hits like a truck. Twinkle, twinkle, little Chuck, wanna hit you with a truck. Zhongli made you cause you couldn't no one likes you cause you f***ing suck. Twinkle, twinkle, little Chuck, I'm gonna hit you like a truck. Elemental skill, sheer heart attack. It explodes with a big boom, and it's absolutely unstoppable. It bounces twice with each bounce dealing pyro damage, just stomping without the regard of what's getting in its way, like an Elden Ring boss, which I'll be playing on Twitch/JayhoonTwitch. When it explodes, it creates these mini versions of Klee's best friends, which are actually attracted to certain animal units. You know, cause I guess they're really hot or something, and I guess some aren't. Elemental Burst, Kleena Queen. Klee summons her stand, which shoots these little annoying lasers onto the enemies. And based on the multiplier on this ability, you probably think this does no damage, but that's where you're wrong. When Klee summons her stand, instead of letting the stand do all the work, she actually attacks with the stand. Like, no shit. Moving on to her passives. The first one, we talked about this already, but in case you have a memory of a goldfish, the 50% chance for 0 stamina charge attack that you'll never reach. Also, this passive's called Pounding Surprise. The second one just gives you 2 energy whenever you blow up the enemy's balls with your Death Ray. Then lastly, her third passive gives you a resource GPS to look for those annoying wait. Huh? These are called Phil Animo mushrooms this entire time? I've been calling these Philema mushrooms for almost 2 years. Now let's go over her artifact equipment. So for those who are dumb enough to go for Klee over Cosmo, summon for Klee recently, then you go with these 3. This one increases Klee's luck to throw a bomb directly into their precious. This one lets her bestest friend to explode with no pain, so Klee can add an extra power without worries. This one lets Klee's best friends do more damage, and further improves Klee's Death Ray. Stupid Riot Games. If you played this game for a while, well, you probably already know the answer. 4-piece Crimson Witch. This domain is strategically designed to piss everyone off with bad RNG. I guess lucky for me, most of my Crimson Witch artifacts are great. Don't worry about that though. I'm getting in a different domain. Anyways, aside from the very obvious flame design that seems like a good fit for a pyro character, the Crimson Witch set you see has a very confusing description. So let me just reword this better than the people who actually fucking made them. When using elemental skill, you gain a anarchy stack that increases your pyro damage by 7.5% for 10 seconds. Max 3 stacks. Wow, that sounds better than that misleading 50% pyro damage bonus bullshit that they added to the description. Thanks, Jay. I'll leave a like and subscribe. But Jay, how do you gain 3 stacks? Klee needs to wait 20 whopping seconds to call her bestest friend, and the anarchy stacks only stays for 10 seconds, and she only has 2 charges. Did this company really design this artifact for one character without worrying about the future consequences for upcoming power characters? Yes. That's exactly what they did. But there is one way to overcome this obstacle: animation canceling. Yeah, I know, I hate stuff like this in games, but we have to take advantage of bugs to actually optimize her gameplay. If only the Ice Cream Man can rework their characters like how they reworked their name. Oh wait! They can! They did! So what's the issue? So, the animation canceling. So this is what you do. When Klee tries to throw her bestest friend, your skill, you can immediately summon your Kleela Queen and cancel the animation for your bestest friend while you still have those charges for use. Then after that, you just summon your bestest friends twice, then boom, 3 anarchy stacks. Still don't make sense? It's okay. Easy analogy time. So let's say there's like an ice cream truck event. They'll trade your bestest friend for this ice cream that buffs your pyro damage by this much. Too bad for Klee, she only has 2 bestest friends. Gosh darn it. Klee can have a maximum of 3 ice creams, but the Ice Cream Man is either super evil or they made a terrible mistake on creating such a flawed event that only works for the rich. But what the Ice Cream Man doesn't know is that Klee has a stand power! So she gives her bestest friend to the Ice Cream Man, but the second she does, she snakes the ice cream, then activates Killer Queen 第3の爆弾バイツァーダスト! Haha! You fool! Now I'll have 3 ice creams! So she goes back in time where she never traded in her bestest friend yet, and then she just trades them all in for the 2 ice creams, which means she now has 3 ice creams. Ha ha! Suck a big dong, Ice Cream Man. Anyways, if you find this domain to be the bane of all evil for giving you the exact opposite of what you need, well, that's normal. 2-piece Crimson Witch with the "this used to be amazing before 2.0" set, or the "you didn't ask for me but you're using it anyways because it has better stats than what you were going for" set will help with the attack boost. Wanderer's Troop set. This is a decent set if you're just gonna wander around. This may help with Elemental Mastery a bit, and this may help with your charge attack a bit, but we don't want to damage the enemy a bit. We want to damage the enemy a lot. And she's already having a rough time because the Ice Cream Man is evil. Let's say the Wanderer's Troop set is like vanilla ice cream, and the 4-piece Crimson Witch is vanilla ice and cream. For primary stats, Klee has various ways of using her explosives, and the most notable and common use is with the casual DPS build of attack, pyro damage bonus, and crit stats. If you're going for chemical explosions, Elemental Mastery is also very important. However, I don't think it's that important. You see, Klee has a lot of bombs. Like, a lot. Like, honestly, the fact that she's even allowed 1. So that's why Mondstadt sucks. Anyways, the game can't keep up with Klee's chaotic explosions because they decided to put this stupid mechanic called ICD. Idiot cooldown on your reactions. So Klee can't constantly commit chemical genocide. What a bummer for Klee. But lucky for Klee, she threatened to blow up the ice cream truck, so they let her have 0 ICD on her charge attack. Well, in any case, don't worry too much about Elemental Mastery, unless the 3.0 is gonna fuck up this video. So now let's look at Klee's favorite books and magic rocks. How exciting! Magic rock. That sounds so dumb. Unfortunately, all of the 5-star books written in Teyvat are pretty bad. Thankfully though, Klee can't read, because this country teaches jack shit. So Klee just uses them as ordinary combustibles to strengthen her power. Anyways, let's go over this real quickly. This one is a puzzle given by Zhongli's dead girlfriend, which is why it's so puzzling to use it on Klee if you don't have a shield, but it's definitely hitting hard as Zhongli did his girlfriend. This one has high crit damage and an annoying ability that you can use only if you exploit the game the same way we did with the Ice Cream Man. The weapon is great in general, at least better than these combustibles that I'm about to go over. This one is a book. I hate it. It's ugly, and it does physical damage and not in the way that I would like it to. But that's why it's a great combustible for damage. This one is better than the other book, but also not. As crazy, impulsive, and destructive Klee is, she's also a child, so she's very fragile. But this book wants her to be on the field for 16 seconds for the maximized buff against giant robot snakes and robot assholes. This book should be called Teyvat's Guide to Child Abuse. This one isn't real, so if you see this on any banner, don't pull. This one lets you play your luck with the devil himself with the 66.6% chance to either hit a W or just an absolute dumpster fire of a stat. This one is aesthetically matching with Klee, but is no longer available since it was an event exclusive weapon, and the ability is, that's okay. I mean, I would say this is used more like a flex to other people how cool you are for playing this game for such a long time. Don't flex that though. This one just boosts everything you do. You throw best friend, bestest friend damage goes up. You throw bestest friend, your best friend damage goes up. So spam and you can deal big damage constantly. Get it now just for $14 Canadian by stealing your parents' credit card during the night. This one boosts your attack for every soul you take. Perfect for explosive Klee. Get it now for just the cost of your soul. Moving on to teams. I personally don't like this part of the video because I feel like teams are ultimately up to the person who, you know, legally owns their account, but from my experience with all the possible reactions, aside from Dendro, was that Overload was overloading the enemies too far from me, Vaporize seems to vaporize my interest because it's used so often with this thing, and Melt was pretty fun to use because, you know, the damage was nice, and I know some of you guys will maul and Melt over my team choice for sure, and that was the purpose. They were all fairly decent on their own way, so I recommend just do whatever you feel is right and fun. What I didn't know about Klee though is that Mono Pyro is an available option, and it makes a lot of sense because ICD is a bitch, and you know, you don't have to worry about that when you're using Mono Pyro. I would probably say this team was just as efficient as Vaporize and Melt. But if you want a more straightforward advice for teams, I would say Bennett is essential for all Klee teams. And you might be going, wow, Jay, you're so creative. Okay, first of all, I didn't make this game, okay? I point fingers at the ice cream man. They decided to sprinkle only on one ice cream. And second of all, the benefits aside from the buffing and the healing and the buffing and the buffing and the buffing and the buffing. Did I mention that he does buffing? Yeah, and buffing is that Klee's burst snapshots with Bennett's friend zone. You can also use Xiangling and Xiangling snapshots as well. Great. Mono Pyro team, absolutely busted already. Just put in a swirler. I don't know what Dendro does, so I don't know, maybe. And if you still don't understand that Mono Pyro is just as consistent as Vaporize and Melt, think of it like this. Vaporize and Melt is like 30% crit rate with 150% crit damage, and Mono Pyro is like 100% crit rate with I'd say like 90% crit damage to 100% crit damage, or I don't know. I don't know. It's not really a super accurate analogy, but it's like good enough, right? So now let's see her in action with her fake friend. I mean real friend. Oh god!
How dare you? Dodoco's Klee's real friend. We talk all the time. Right, Dodoco? Hey, it's Dodoco! Oh, I'll give you a hug.
This is Venti.